Hi everyone, welcome to Product Iteration Webinar. My name is Lalit Pandey and I'll be your host today. Before we get started, I want to give a brief background about myself. I have over 2 decades of industry experience. My career has taken me from being an engineer to engineering management and to product management. In the past, I've led product management at Yahoo for various video and display advertising products, and I currently lead advertising product at PlayStation. Over this journey, I've had different seats observing product lifecycle and the role of product management in it. I hope today's webinar captures some of the learnings I've gained from my experiences. So without further ado, let's get started. Many executives in small and big organizations alike often see only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the work done by product managers. Their perception forms based on observed outputs, such as stories, features, and epics, that gate the big engineering wheel from churning. This often negatively affects the amount and or quality of due diligence that is done at the early stages of product lifecycle. The lack of rigor in early stages may result in underfunded products, unmitigated and undiscovered usability or value risks, or wrong assumptions about the market. The net impact being loss of time and resource pursuing this opportunity. With that context, I have formed a hypothesis that at the core of the problem is missing process framework that helps the organization balance discovery and execution to achieve product market fit. What I mean by process framework for product managers is a cyclical set of stages through which product managers navigate while pursuing a market opportunity. The framework provides guidance on the goals for product managers in each stage, what kind of behavior should the organization try to inculcate amongst product managers, besides product managers, who should be included, what artifacts or output should be expected at the end of the stage, finally, what would a product manager need to be successful in that stage. There are several books written that describe product management as a job function and touch upon various aspects of these stages. For the purpose of this webinar, my goal here is to describe the overall iteration process while briefly delving into each of these stages. The product iteration framework is a cyclical process framework that puts a product manager in context of a domain into discovery sphere or execution sphere. The discovery sphere is further separated into a problem space or a solution space. The former is aimed at understanding and describing to rest of the organization which problems are important to be solved, while latter is aimed at understanding amongst those interesting problems which problems are solvable given the resources and expertise of the organization. The execution sphere, as the name suggests, is focused then on developing and delivering to customers and users the solutions that have been deemed important to solve and solvable with organization resources. Communicating out broadly as to what state a product area is in amongst these four spaces provides a great deal of transparency and clarity to executive management and internal stakeholders. In order to provide an efficient means to communicate out the product within this cyclical process, one tool that can be utilized is the one-pager product brief. I'm sure in most all organizations, a version of this exists in one form or the other. What I propose is not a hard structure on how to provide the brief, but what key information should ideally be included in it. Keep in mind, not all of this information is filled in as the product initiative kickstarts. I'll come back to this brief in each of these stages in subsequent slides. So how do we enter the iteration cycle? In order to enter or kickstart the iteration cycle, product manager must synthesize the current state of user needs. The product manager in this stage should focus on synthesizing how well current solutions are meeting the user needs. He can do so by analyzing the key metrics and or doing qualitative research. A quick note on this stage. If you are in transition, you might be taking over a different product within your company or switching jobs. Then this is the stage where you spend your first 30 to 60 days. The first and foremost is to dig deeper into the product portfolio strategy and corporate strategy. This may require you to ask your managers to walk you through the company strategy and how product strategy fits into it. For any managers or product manager, this should be included as part of the onboarding program. Armed with the strategic context, product managers should get into a discovery mindset so as to understand who are the users that matter, What needs of these users have been in focus till now? Be prepared to discover and identify any inconsistencies between the strategic focus and execution focus. One way to quickly surface these would be by looking at what metrics are being captured and reported, along with what KPI goals are being pursued by the product team. At the end of this, you should have formed a hypothesis on, are these the right needs to focus on? Support your hypothesis by finding answers to what user behaviors indicate presence of these needs. How do solving for these needs impact product and company objectives? This is also the start of your one-pager brief. As you are working through identifying current state of user needs, you would have captured information around what user groups should be in focus, what is the background context around the needs for this user group, what are the key metrics that connect these needs with business impact. Keep in mind, this is just the start. You will revisit each of these boxes in the brief many times in subsequent stages. You can exit this stage when you have well understood and documented user needs, user behaviors that demonstrate the presence of the need, and key metrics that support that hypothesis. We could use a product brief, a presentation, or a narrative in the form of Word document to express this. You have access to and generated insights from business and product metrics that describe how well the current solution is meeting the customer needs. In absence of quantitative data, market data or qualitative proxies will suffice. If your organization has been using OKR process, then access to past OKRs and scores. This will help you in communicating linkage between past focus and future goals, as well as how well the delivery team is in execution. Finally, any learning that team has generated based on past focus may provide organizational and business context. After understanding the current state of user needs, the next step in the process is goal setting. Product manager in this stage should focus on proposing continuation of past objectives or pivoting and pursuing new objectives so as to give the product delivery team and the larger portfolio organization an opportunity to provide feedback as well as stay aligned with the product direction. In this stage, you will be hoping to work on building a hypothesis about what the customer behavior you would like to change and how would that impact the organization. In the process of doing so, you will be formulating success metrics and key results that will set some achievable targets for the delivery team. This is the stage where you begin to share your vision about the focus of the product team. Hopefully, your effort from the previous stage has provided you with sufficient context to build a narrative of what and why, and can inspire and influence the stakeholders, executive leadership, and the delivery teams. This narrative would be incomplete without a well written hypothesis and smart OKRs. I want to briefly touch upon the hypothesis. I believe that it is essential to separately articulate the user need in focus, the behavioral change expected if that need is serviced well, and the accompanying business impact that is expected because of the behavioral change. For most product, it is feasible to instrument metrics that can detect the behavioral change in a time-bound experiment. However, the impact on business may take longer to observe. So customer behavior change can form a good leading indicator of whether the experiment is heading in the right direction. The most important output from this stage is the narrative and the OKR. It is also important to catalog any important decisions and assumptions that have been made. These could include decisions such as what user segments are not going to be in the focus in the iteration, what user needs were deprioritized. After goal setting, the third stage is design and user research. Product manager in this stage should focus on discovering usability, value, and business risks along with mitigation approaches so that confidence in achieving the KPI is set previously and moving product team closer to the objective is strengthened. In this stage, product managers would be focused on strengthening their hypothesis, validating their assumptions, calling out unknowns, and thinking of associated risks. They would refine the success metrics and also take a note of conditions that may trigger a quick pivot from current direction. By the end of this stage, product managers as part of the multifunction team should have conducted design and user research to validate assumptions around usability, value, and viability. The overall narrative about the iteration focus should be then updated with the findings from the research. Known risks should have been captured along with proposed mitigation options. Unknown and assumptions that couldn't be validated and/or research could also be documented. Finally, proposal on one or more potential experiment options should be created to validate the hypothesis with anticipated scale of impact on user, product, or business metrics. With the next stage, the product manager switches from problem space to solution space. He should focus on assessing effort, technical risks, and dependencies by collaborating with delivery teams so that feasibility of executing across proposed experimentation paths can be ascertained and compared. In this stage, the feasibility and effort estimation can result in refinement of key results and success metrics. Technical dependencies and solutions can also result in creation of additional pivot criteria. In this stage, product manager's primary role is to engage effectively with the product delivery teams. To do so, he or she needs to communicate with clarity the intent of the iteration. It's absolutely important to make sure the entire product delivery team has good clarity on the goals of the iteration and the narrative behind it. Product managers should do so by crisply using the hypothesis to establish a connection between the requested features and the behavioral change that is the goal. Finally, the product manager should go into this engagement with a pre-thought through mental model to make trade-offs between scope, time, and risk by balancing user, business, and organizational impact with the opportunity cost. In this stage, the primary outputs that are produced are from product delivery team. To exit this stage, make sure you have effort estimates that is available for each experimentation path. Resource and technology risks have been identified, and any internal or external dependencies have also been identified. By this stage, the one pager should be in a complete state. Management and executive leadership should be able to read through these one pages across the entire portfolio. As this stage relates to balancing of entire portfolio, to successfully navigate this stage, it is important for the product manager to have access and clear understanding of company and department outcomes or OKRs. The product manager should be able to establish and communicate a clear connection between the OKR being proposed for the iteration and the department OKRs. He should have a compelling narrative, a pitch deck equivalent, that narrates and lays out findings from all previous stages with clear articulation of goals, underlying hypothesis, research findings, feasibility studies, unknowns, risks, and resource implications. If the iteration solution path rely on team collaboration, then ensure that an alignment with other product teams is reflected in the other team's goals. Finally, product manager should have access to escalation path in case the switch to execution sphere may need executive support in the form of resource requests or risk acceptance. Exit this stage with either a decision to switch to execution stage or revisit the discovery stage for proposed OKRs or pivot the iteration. At the end of portfolio balancing, the product team should expect to have a finite list of OKRs that is prioritized and inclusive of internal and external goals. For any externally originating or cross-team OKRs, consistent prioritization across the involved product team is extremely critical. Keep in mind, it's important to have focus within the product team. Be skeptical if the product team has any more than 2 to 3 OKRs. As the product manager moves past portfolio rebalancing, he or she will enter the execution sphere. The first stage in the execution sphere is engineering deep dives and planning. While a few engineering leads may be involved in the discovery state to assess the feasibility of solution, expect to engage a wider engineering team in this stage. The product manager focus in this stage is to ensure that implementation team has good understanding of approved OKRs, user needs, and product requirements so that it can build an experimentation plan to test the hypothesis underlying the OKR. A successful product manager in this stage will communicate with clarity, translated OKRs, design, research, and engineering high-level assessment into a set of well-explained requirements. He or she will re-emphasize to large execution team the connection between the features, requirements, and OKRs, And finally, he would also be able to call out functional dependency on other components or products. He will also walk through the wireframe and user flow that indicate the desired user behavior, including the research findings from the discovery stage to support your flows and wireframes. Product managers should also ensure that success KPIs come directly from the OKRs and are connected to customer behavior outcomes, business impact, and any product performance or user experience constraints. Product manager should exit this stage once he has a high-level solution design proposal that lays out the exploration strategy that engineering will pursue to figure out the solution, an execution plan that lays out timeline for completion of development cycle, testing, and launch, and finally, ensure that all user stories associated with the solution features and epics have been slotted and sized so that there is sufficient confidence in the plan of record. After having briefed engineering with the iteration goal, OKRs, and associated requirements, engineering is expected to propose a detailed technical architecture and solution. At the same time, design team is expected to transform the wireframes and flows into UX design mocks. The goal of product manager in the next stage is to validate that the design and solution architecture will deliver on the iteration goals, while also ensuring that a balance is maintained between optimizing for delivery towards current goal and longer term product mission and vision. For iteration with small changes, this stage can be skipped. For product managers to be successful in this stage, he or she needs a global view of the product, both how it works independently as well as its connection to rest of the ecosystem. He or she should also have good understanding on the quality of service expectation from the product and its dependencies. The product manager should be able to grasp the limitations posed by the proposed solution and be able to trade off between solving for current goals and minimizing any impact to future iteration. Finally, he or she should be able to validate the behavior of the proposed solution against the user flows and the desired user behavior. Exit this stage with a solution architecture that has high probability of solving for the current iteration goal and OKRs. Also, document any new limitations and risks to the goal based on the proposed solution. This includes scope refinements and OKR changes. This brings us to the last stage of the execution sphere, which is taking the iteration from company environment into the customer hands. Product manager in this stage should focus on ensuring that marketing, PR, and operation plans are ready and meet the need of the current iteration goal, so that time between readiness to deploy the product and making it available to the target customers is minimized while increasing the chance of successful adoption. Please note, the product manager may switch to this stage anytime after the validation of solution design and even before engineering team actively begin the development cycle. To be successful in this stage, product manager should make sure he or she is familiar with the go-to-market process within the organization. This may include understanding of any periodic marketing or PR opportunities, awareness of key stakeholders who coordinate and or assist with go-to-market planning, and considerations for pricing, branding, or any help or customer documentation. Being comfortable and organized when communicating across these diverse teams and functions is a must. Finally, a launch in one product area can impact users, stakeholders, or products in other area. A good understanding of plans for launches happening across connected and or related products will help avoid measurement and validation pitfalls. Exit this stage with a marketing and a PR strategy that focuses on the target customer group and is aligned with iteration goal. An operational rollout plan that ensures minimal downtime and collision with other launches as well as reduces the business risk. This might also include giving customers proper time to migrate over any impacted services. Finally, a training plan for operational teams, customer support teams, internal stakeholders, and or key customers in case of B2B products. So, this concludes walkthrough of 8 stages of the product iteration cycle. Remember that these 8 stages fall into 4 distinct spaces of discovery and execution sphere. Before I leave you guys, I would like to touch on some key aspects of adapting this cycle to your organization. The iteration cycle can be slower or faster depending upon the product maturity and complexity. Not all parts of cycle deserve the same amount of attention. Ideally, product management should be wanting to spend majority of their time in the right hemisphere of problem space and solution space. The cycle doesn't move in just one direction. At each stage, a set of new information can cause the cycle to pause, go back. Teams should be empowered to pivot on new information at any stage in the cycle. In addition to directionality, keep in mind that not all stages are mandatory. Depending on the life cycle of the product, some iteration stages may be completely skipped. One of the key stakeholders of this iteration process is the C-suite or executive leadership. Adapt the cycle so as to provide the information that leadership seeks in a timely manner that is aligned with other agile processes within the company. One final note to managers and organizational leaders. I believe that if properly adapted into your organization, the iteration process can deliver focus within the team, increase the chance of conversions towards a product market fit, continuously raise the bar for the product management organization, and increase synergies across different groups that can have bigger portfolio wide impact. With that, thanks for listening in today. I hope you found this webinar useful and will experiment with these concepts at your organization. Please feel free to reach me on LinkedIn and let me know of any feedback. I would love to hear any success or failure stories from your experimentation.